You've been trying to learn English for months, maybe years, right? But the words, they just don't stick. You listen to native speakers, and it sounds like fast, messy noise. You try to speak, but your brain freezes. You stay silent, even when you know what to say. And deep down, you're asking yourself, why can't I learn like everyone else? Now, here's the shocker. What if you've been learning English wrong this entire time? Because the secret to fluency isn't grammar. It's emotion. And today, through one powerful real story, you'll finally see why. Let's be honest. Textbooks make you memorize and forget. Flashcards? They feel useless after a week. Apps keep testing you, but never teach you to speak. And because of that, you start to doubt yourself. You feel embarrassed to talk. You avoid conversations. You think maybe English just isn't for you. But it's not your fault. The system failed you. Because your brain doesn't learn through rules. It learns through stories. When emotion enters, memory follows. And that's why today, the Control English is bringing you something different. A real story that rewires the way your brain learns English. This is the story of Stephen Schwarzman, a man who started with nothing and built one of the most powerful empires on earth. He wasn't born rich. He wasn't born confident. He failed, he stumbled, he got rejected, again and again. But he learned one secret that changed everything. If you want to win in life, or in English, you must learn through stories that move your heart. That's why this documentary isn't a lecture. It's a journey. Every sentence you'll hear is slow, clear, and designed to help you feel the language, not just translate it. You'll learn real-world vocabulary, the kind successful people use every day. You'll hear emotional storytelling that sticks in your memory forever. And you'll start thinking, not in your native language, but directly in English. Imagine this. You walk into a cafe, order coffee confidently, and the barista smiles because you sound natural. You listen to an American movie, and you understand every word. You talk to people, and they listen, because your English feels alive. That's what this journey can do. This isn't just another video, it's your turning point. The same way Stephen built his empire from the ground up. You'll build your fluency, one real story at a time. And when you start to feel English instead of forcing it, your brain wakes up. That's when transformation begins. So here's what you need to do right now. If you're tired of struggling, if you're done feeling stuck, if you're ready to finally understand, speak, and feel confident in English, then smash that like button, subscribe to the Control English, and turn on notifications. Because this is where your English finally changes forever. This is not just another documentary. This is your classroom of real stories. And today, we start with one that will move your heart and train your mind. The inspirational journey of Stephen Schwarzman. So sit back, listen closely, because by the end of this story, you won't just understand English, you'll live it. Lesson 1. The opening hook. The man who built his own empire. In the heart of New York City, where dreams rise higher than the skyline itself, one man built an empire not out of luck, but out of relentless vision. His name is Stephen Schwarzman, the co-founder of Blackstone, one of the largest investment firms on earth. But this isn't a story about money. This is the story of a boy who sold lawn mowing services, who learned from rejection, and who believed that education was the first step to every great success. For English learners across America, Stephen's life is more than a business story. It's a real-life English lesson in persistence, clarity, and confidence. Because just like mastering a new language, building an empire starts with one small, brave word. Begin. Lesson 2. The early life. Born with curiosity. Stephen was born in 1947 in a quiet Pennsylvania town called Philadelphia. His father owned a small store that sold linen and fabrics, nothing too grand, but honest work. Young Stephen watched his father treat customers with respect and patience. That simple store became his first classroom. He saw how communication could build trust and how kindness could become a kind of currency. English learners can relate to this. Every conversation you start, every word you pronounce correctly, is an investment. A tiny step toward your future fluency. Stephen's father taught him that business, like language, is about understanding people. Lesson 3. A lesson in observation. Stephen didn't grow up rich, but he grew up observant. He noticed details, how people negotiated, how they smiled when they were understood, how they reacted when they weren't. He realized that understanding others' emotions was the first rule of success. For students learning English, this is gold. Learning a language isn't just grammar and vocabulary, it's emotion. Stephen's power later in life came from his emotional intelligence, his ability to read people, to understand their fears and hopes, and to speak in a way that moved them. Lesson 4. The turning point. Yale University. When Stephen entered Yale University, everything changed. Surrounded by ambitious students and legendary professors, he realized how big the world really was. He joined clubs, met future leaders, and sharpened his communication skills. He wasn't the smartest in every room, but he was one of the most curious. Curiosity became his secret advantage. For English learners, curiosity is your most powerful tool. Ask questions. Listen deeply. Never be afraid to say, "Can you repeat that?" Because every question you ask opens a new door. Lesson 5. The first step into the world of finance. After Yale, Stephen entered the world of finance. His first job was at Lehman Brothers, a major investment bank. There he learned how money moved, not just numbers on paper, but the emotions and logic behind decisions. He worked long nights, studied every file, and kept learning. When he didn't understand something, he asked. When he failed, he improved. It's the same in learning English. Mistakes aren't failures, they're teachers. Every time you mispronounce a word or forget a tense, you're actually becoming stronger. Stephen's growth mindset turned him from a learner into a leader. Lesson 6. The power of mentorship. At Lehman Brothers, Stephen met mentors who changed his thinking forever. They taught him that success isn't about speed, but direction. He learned to plan long-term, to build relationships before profits, and to always prepare more than others. If you're learning English, find mentors too. Teachers, online coaches, or even friends who encourage you to speak. Mentorship gives you confidence when self-doubt tries to stop you. Stephen's mentors helped him see the world through numbers and people, a balance that later defined Blackstone's success. Lesson 7. The moment of realization. One late evening, Stephen sat in his office, staring at the New York skyline. He realized he didn't just want to work for a company. He wanted to create one. That decision changed everything. For English learners, this is the lesson of ownership. When you stop saying, "I want to learn English," and start saying, "I will master it," your brain shifts. You move from hoping to acting. Stephen made that mental shift, and the result was extraordinary. Lesson 8. Founding Blackstone. From dream to reality. In 1985, Stephen and his friend Peter Peterson co-founded the Blackstone Group with just $400,000. It wasn't a billion-dollar company yet. It was two men with a belief. They faced rejection from investors, skepticism from friends, and confusion from competitors. But Stephen's communication skill made the difference. He explained ideas clearly. He told stories that connected. He didn't use complicated jargon. He spoke from the heart. That's why this documentary is in simple English, too. Because real intelligence is the ability to make complex things sound simple. Lesson 9. The value of rejection. Many investors said no. Some even laughed at them. But Stephen didn't take it personally. He saw rejection as feedback. For learners, that's crucial. When someone corrects your English, they're not judging you. They're helping you rise. Stephen rewrote proposals, improved presentations, and built credibility. Every no became a step closer to yes. Success, like language, is repetition plus reflection. Lesson 10. The breakthrough deal. Blackstone's first big break came with a small but strategic deal. They helped companies grow smarter, not just richer. Stephen believed in partnership, not domination. He listened before speaking, learned before leading. His empathy created trust, and trust brought opportunity. If you think about it, learning English is the same. The more you listen, the more you understand the rhythm of real conversation. Listening builds trust in communication, and trust builds connection. Lesson 11. Building an empire of ideas. Blackstone grew rapidly. From real estate to technology, from global funds to innovations, Stephen built not just a company, but an idea factory. Every project started with a question. What problem can we solve? That's also a question you can ask while learning English. What skill can I improve today? Maybe pronunciation, maybe confidence, maybe storytelling. Improvement starts with self-awareness. Lesson 12. Communication. His true power. What made Stephen different was not just intelligence, it was clarity. He spoke in plain, confident English. No unnecessary words, no confusion. Every sentence was a bridge between minds. English learners can model this. Speak simply, not perfectly. Speak clearly, not quickly. The goal is connection, not perfection. Lesson 13. The hardest year. Every success story has storms. For Stephen, one major crisis tested everything he'd built. When markets crashed, people panicked. Investors pulled out. Friends doubted him. But Stephen stayed calm. He remembered his father's small store and the lesson of patience. He spoke to his team with honesty and hope. We've built this together. We'll rebuild it together. His English wasn't poetic, it was powerful. That's the heart of communication. Honesty creates trust. Lesson 14. Learning from crisis. Crisis teaches faster than comfort. Stephen learned that you can't control everything, only your response. For English learners, frustration is your crisis. Some days you'll feel stuck, misunderstood, or shy. That's okay. What matters is persistence. Keep listening, keep speaking. Progress hides in repetition. Lesson 15. The global vision. Stephen began thinking globally. He traveled, met world leaders, and built partnerships across continents. He saw English as the world's bridge. Whether he was in China, India, or Europe, English helped him connect ideas across cultures. That's the power you're learning right now. The power to cross borders with your words. Lesson 16. Expanding beyond borders. As Blackstone began to grow, Stephen faced a new challenge: how to think beyond America. He realized that success wasn't about being the biggest, but about being the smartest. He wanted to build a company that could work anywhere in the world. To do that, he needed to understand cultures, ideas, and languages. Every trip he took was a classroom. He listened to how people spoke, how they made decisions, and how they handled failure. He learned that even in business, words mattered more than numbers. That's why learning English, or any language, isn't just about grammar. It's about understanding people and communicating with clarity and respect. Lesson 17. The importance of long-term thinking. Stephen was never a man who chased short-term wins. He believed that real success takes time. When others rushed to make fast money, he was busy building something that would last for decades. He often said that people overestimate what they can do in 1 year and underestimate what they can do in 10. That's also true for language learning. Many learners give up after a few months because progress feels slow. But Stephen's story reminds you that patience always pays off. One day, you'll look back and realize that all those small efforts, every word, every sentence, built something powerful. Lesson 18. Facing the fear of failure. There was a time when Stephen almost lost everything. A deal went wrong, and the future of Blackstone looked uncertain. For days, he couldn't sleep. He questioned his choices. But instead of giving in to fear, he turned fear into focus. He analyzed what went wrong, learned from it, and came back stronger. English learners can apply this too. Fear of speaking, fear of mistakes. Those are normal. What matters is not avoiding fear, but transforming it into energy. When you face fear with courage, it becomes your teacher. Lesson 19. The art of decision-making. Stephen became famous for making quick yet thoughtful decisions. He believed that every choice carries a story, and every story changes the future. He trained himself to stay calm, even under pressure. He listened to experts, but trusted his own analysis. For learners, this means listening to others, but developing your own style of speaking. Learn from your teachers, but build your own rhythm. Confidence doesn't come from being perfect. It comes from being prepared and authentic. Lesson 20. Building relationships that last. One of Stephen's greatest strengths was his ability to build deep, lasting relationships. He treated partners as allies, not competitors. He believed that business was a long-term friendship built on trust and honesty. He often invited people to talk openly, to share ideas, and to dream big. For you, learning English is also about relationships. When you talk to others, don't just exchange words, exchange warmth. Connection always matters more than correctness. Lesson 21. The power of education remained close to Stephen's heart throughout his life. He donated millions to universities like Yale, Oxford, and others, believing that knowledge is the greatest equalizer. He often said that if you give someone education, you give them freedom. For English learners, this is your moment of empowerment. Learning this language opens doors to education, jobs, and new cultures. Each word you learn today is a seed for tomorrow's opportunity. Lesson 22. How he saw success. For Stephen, success was not about cars or luxury. It was about control of your time, your decisions, and your destiny. He believed that wealth without purpose was empty. That's why he often said that the best investment you can make is in yourself. When you invest in learning, whether it's English or leadership, you're building an asset that can never lose value. Lesson 23. Lessons from rejection. Rejection never stopped Stephen. Early in his career, he faced countless no's. But he turned every rejection into a redirection. He would ask himself, why did this fail? What can I improve? English learners can use this same mindset. When someone doesn't understand you, don't feel embarrassed. Feel curious. Learn why it happened, fix it, and try again. Every conversation is a chance to grow. Lesson 24. Staying grounded in success. Even after becoming a billionaire, Stephen kept his daily habits simple. He read constantly, woke up early, and wrote his thoughts down. He believed that humility keeps success alive. When you learn English, remember the same thing. Never think you're too good to keep learning. Language, like life, rewards humility. The more you practice, the deeper your fluency becomes. Lesson 25. Leadership through listening. Stephen once said, "Leaders who don't listen will eventually be surrounded by people who have nothing to say." That statement defines his leadership. He listened to his team, to their fears, their ideas, their concerns. That made people trust him. For you as a learner, listening is the key to fluency. Every podcast, every movie, every conversation trains your ear to think in English. Listening is silent power. Lesson 26. The power of simplicity. Even though Stephen managed billions, he always kept his communication simple. He could explain complex financial ideas in clear, everyday English. This is an art, to simplify without losing meaning. As you learn, focus on expressing big ideas in simple words. Simplicity is elegance. You don't need fancy vocabulary to sound smart, just clarity and sincerity. Lesson 27. Giving back to the world. Philanthropy became a big part of Stephen's later life. He funded schools, libraries, and scholarships. He wanted to make education more accessible because he believed that opportunity should not depend on luck. His generosity teaches that success means little if it helps no one else. As you grow in your English journey, share your knowledge too. Help others learn. Teach a friend. Give back. That's how you multiply success. Lesson 28. The language of leadership. Stephen's leadership style was built on language. Every word he spoke in meetings carried weight because he chose words carefully. He avoided negativity. He encouraged others with confidence and precision. Great leaders are great communicators. When you learn to use words with power and purpose, people listen. English is not just a skill, it's a leadership tool. Lesson 29. Facing critics with confidence. Every great achiever has critics. Stephen had many. Some said he was too bold, others said he took too many risks. But he never let opinions define him. He listened, evaluated, and moved forward. This is a valuable lesson for learners. Don't let fear of judgment stop you from speaking. People might laugh at your accent, but they can't ignore your progress. Keep speaking. Every time you use English, you silence your fear a little more. Lesson 30. The meaning of legacy. Stephen's legacy is not just his company, it's his mindset. He showed that ordinary people can create extraordinary impact with focus and discipline. He believed that leaving a legacy means inspiring others to grow beyond you. So, what will your legacy be? Maybe it starts with your first confident English sentence. Maybe it's helping someone else find their voice. Every legacy begins with a single act of courage. Lesson 31. The value of self-reflection. Even at the top, Stephen often paused to reflect. He would ask himself, am I learning enough? Am I helping others? Am I still growing? These questions kept him sharp. You can do the same. Record yourself speaking English. Listen to your progress. Notice your improvements. Reflection makes growth visible. Lesson 32. How he handles pressure. Pressure doesn't disappear when you succeed. It grows. Stephen managed pressure by preparing early, staying calm, and trusting his team. He believed that panic solves nothing. For English learners, pressure comes in the form of tests, interviews, or public speaking. Prepare well, breathe deeply, and remember. Confidence is built, not born. Lesson 33. The philosophy of time. Stephen treated time like his most valuable asset. He scheduled every hour with intention. He didn't waste time on negative thoughts or meaningless arguments. If you want to master English or life, protect your time. Spend it wisely. Read, listen, speak, repeat. Small daily actions create giant results over time. Lesson 34. The spirit of reinvention. Even in his 70s, Stephen never stopped learning. He explored new technologies, global markets, and fresh ideas. He understood that the world changes fast, and you must change with it. Reinvention is survival. As an English learner, never think you're too late to improve. Start today. Reinvent yourself with every word you learn. Lesson 35. Your turn to build. Stephen Schwarzman's story isn't just about wealth. It's about vision, courage, and continuous learning. He began as a boy helping in his father's shop and became a man who helped shape the world economy. His journey proves that greatness begins with effort, not privilege. For you, learning English may feel like a mountain. But remember Stephen's life. He started small, faced failure, and kept moving. Every sentence you practice, every mistake you correct, every lesson you finish. That's your version of building an empire. So here's your call to action. Don't just learn English, live it. Use it to tell your story, to connect with people, to dream bigger. Speak even when you're scared. Write even when you doubt. Believe, because transformation starts with one brave word. Begin.